Some days it feels like humans invented the idea of the one the same way we invented umbrellas, out of sheer desperation and emotional survival. When life gets messy, confusing, and painfully awkward, the fantasy of having one perfect person assigned to us like a heavenly group project partner just sounds easier. It's comforting to think the universe is doing the hard work while we sit there eating chips and overthinking texts. But deep down, we know love doesn't work like a cosmic vending machine. Still, the myth is irresistible, and honestly, it makes loneliness feel a little less loud. The idea of having a soulmate gives us a storyline to follow when life feels like improv comedy gone wrong. It offers structure when relationships feel chaotic and contradicting. Instead of dealing with uncertainty, we get to imagine someone out there perfectly wired for us. It's an emotional shortcut disguised as destiny, and that's exactly why people cling to it so tightly. Believing in the one is basically the emotional equivalent of believing your missing sock will return someday. It's hopeful, unrealistic, but comforting. It keeps us from confronting the idea that love is built, not assigned. It also gives heartbreak a dramatic flair, like fate made a mistake instead of us just making a normal human error. The concept softens the sting of disappointment, even if it's not actually helping us grow. Loneliness has a powerful influence on why we hold on to soulmate theories. When you feel disconnected, imagining someone destined for you feels like instant relief. It's like emotional pain medication without the prescription. But temporary comfort isn't the same as truth, and sometimes it stops us from learning to be okay on our own. Psychologically, humans crave meaning more than accuracy. Our brains like to organize chaos into stories, even if the stories are a bit unrealistic. That's why meeting someone new often feels like a plot twist rather than a coincidence. The brain loves making romance feel cosmic, even when it's just biology and timing. We also romanticize familiarity without realizing it. Most people don't fall for destined souls, they fall for patterns from childhood they haven't decoded yet. That familiarity feels like fate, but it's really just emotional déjà vu. It's comforting, even when it's chaotic, and our brains confuse comfort with destiny way too often. Movies play a huge role in shaping the soulmate fantasy. They make love look easy, instant, and perfectly timed, like the universe is a personal matchmaker with a flawless track record. But in real life, people are late, confused, stressed, and occasionally emotionally allergic to communication. The myth skips those parts. That's why it feels magical, because it's not real. People often mistake emotional intensity for cosmic connection. Butterflies feel romantic, so we convince ourselves they're a divine signal. But sometimes butterflies are just anxiety or a bad breakfast. Still, intensity makes us believe the moment is bigger than it is. The brain is dramatic like that. Believing in the one also makes us feel safer in a world where everything else is unpredictable. If there's one person destined for you, then you don't have to worry about endless trial and error. It takes pressure off choices and responsibility. But love built on fate is fragile when real conflict shows up. Reality eventually asks for effort. The concept of soulmates can also make breakups feel less confusing. It's easier to say, they weren't my destined person, than to admit we ignored incompatibility. It saves our self-esteem for the moment, but not our long-term growth. Facing our patterns is hard, but necessary. Destiny just makes a great scapegoat. People forget that relationships evolve constantly. Nobody stays perfectly aligned forever, and even the best connections have rough patches. The soulmate myth pretends love is smooth if it's meant to be, but lasting love requires work, patience, and emotional flexibility. Destiny can't fix everything. Another issue with believing in the one is how limiting it is. Thinking there's only one match for you in a world of billions is statistically chaotic. It also makes you overlook potential partners who don't fit the imaginary soulmate vibe. Openness allows genuine connection to happen. Restriction blocks it. Compatibility is more practical than magical. It comes from shared values, communication habits, emotional maturity, and humor that matches your own. None of those require destiny, just awareness and effort. The idea is less poetic, but more sustainable. And honestly, still pretty romantic. People sometimes use the soulmate idea to avoid accountability. If destiny controls everything, then why reflect, heal, or improve communication? It's an easy loophole out of responsibility. But relationships thrive on self-awareness, not fate. Growth matters way more than predictions. The soulmate myth often distracts from the fact that humans have many potential matches across a lifetime. You change, grow, and evolve, so your ideal partner can shift too. Thinking you only get one shot at connection is unnecessarily stressful. Life isn't a single-round love game. It's more flexible than that. Soulmates also suggest perfection, which doesn't exist in relationships. Real people have flaws, moods, insecurities, and a tendency to say the wrong thing at the worst time. Love isn't about finding a perfect human. It's about choosing someone whose flaws you can handle. Perfection would be boring anyway. Imperfection makes connection real. Sometimes we label someone as the one simply because they entered our lives during a vulnerable chapter. They feel like a savior, not a partner. Emotional timing can make ordinary chemistry feel cosmic. Our brains exaggerate because it's comforting, but comfort isn't destiny. Believing in soulmates can be sweet, but it becomes harmful when it stops us from choosing intentionally. Love isn't a lottery, it's a decision. We make it over and over again. You don't meet your person, you build your person through shared growth. That's harder than fate, but also stronger. Reality beats fantasy when effort is involved. People are often afraid to admit the truth. Love is uncertain, but that doesn't make it less beautiful. In fact, choosing someone without destiny forcing your hand makes the connection more meaningful. It means you're there because you want to be, not because the universe assigned you a partner like a school seat. That choice is powerful, and it's real. In the end, maybe the one isn't a singular person. It's whoever you grow with, communicate with, laugh with, and choose through all the phases of life. Not because they were written in your stars, but because you both showed up and kept showing up. That's more grounded, more realistic, and honestly more romantic. Destiny is cute, but effort is deeper. And maybe that's the kind of love that actually lasts.